Hello? 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 Hey guys, what's up? My name is Lily. I really quickly wanted to jump on here to say hello because this is, in fact, my very first YouTube video. I am a graphic designer by day and a visual artist and gamer by night, so I figured why not combine the two and create some content that meets in the middle. That is what this is today. We're doing a speed build in The Sims 4, the greatest game known to mankind. And if you do like the video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up, or better yet, subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of the future content that I plan on making. And I think that's it. Welcome to my channel. Let's get into the video. Alrighty, well, we are in our lot. It is a 20 by 15 lot in Newcrest, and I think it's called Oak Alcove when you click on it, or just choose the name that comes with the game. I think I kept mine as Oak Alcove because I quite like the name. It's such a nice spot because it's right off the back of a park, and that's kind of why I chose it, because I really wanted this house to almost look like it was floating within nature, or it was sort of part of the park nearby. And the way that I've done that is I've created a split level home where all the main living quarters are underground, and there's one small box that's an art gallery that sits on top of the house. And the idea with this was sort of to make the top half of the home look like a tiny house from street level, when in actual fact it's quite spacious and pretty big. I think it's quite expensive, the home too. I'm not entirely sure what the the Sim money came in at to get this house, but it's certainly not a starter home, and I've packed it full of skill building items and all sorts of stuff. But the main idea I had was to have sort of an artist living here, a maker sim, someone in the arts who had a little bit of a retreat up top. Maybe he freelances and works from home, and at the bottom is where he lives and chills and cooks and does the usual simming thing. And the way that I was able to create this house was using platforms, which was super exciting. It was my first time ever using them in the game. I probably could have utilized them a little bit better, but I was actually pretty stoked with how these staggered asymmetrical stairs turned out. I think it looks super modern and nice. It lends itself well to the industrial vibe I was going for with the rest of the build. So I'm using like a lot of blacks, metal elements, stones, bricks, and layering all of that together to make it look like a bit of an industrial glass box sitting next to the park, which I really like. And because it was underground, it was important to have really big windows, because ain't nobody likes living in the dark. Not in real life and not in The Sims. So you'll see me actually playing with darker colors here, which I was trying to reflect the outside of the house on the inside, but I thought at the end of the day that was just going to make it a lot darker inside, and not really the vibes we were going for. So you'll see I end up changing it to a lot of lighter colors, kind of to match that upstairs wallpaper look. I end up going with really light tiled floors and like a stone wall. I love those wallpapers. I think they're so nice. I just think it looks super modern and super clean. Something you'd want to like rub your hands over. Is that what interior designers say when they're talking about textures and whatnot? Anyway, so I'm doing that inside now. I've got my main quarters, which is just the kitchen. I've got one bedroom and I've got a bathroom. And as I said before, the art studio up the top with a little rooftop garden. But one of the little unsung heroes of this house was actually the front gate. I was really stoked with what I ended up doing for this, because the house sort of doesn't really have a fence and isn't really that enclosed. And so I wanted a sort of statement piece to say, hey guys, like this is where you enter. So this is what I'm building now. I had started out with these like sandstone blocks on top of the like metal steel columns, but I ended up changing that because I put this glass awning on that you see now, and in order to have that look right, it didn't make sense to have the stones at the top, so I chucked them off, put the glass awning on. I thought that worked really nice for the industrial feel. And then the thing about building underground and with a really steep terrain is that you can't terrain paint the sides, which is really annoying. I wish that we could update that, but I guess that doesn't really lend itself to the realism that the game developers are probably trying to create. So you just see me here adding in a whole bunch of shrubbery in order to cover up the brown of the walls. Like I loved the idea of having a living wall enclosure wrapping around the whole house. And I toyed with putting sort of a retaining wall on one side behind the house, but then I realized, let's just fill it with plants as well and have it wrapping all the way around the entire home, which is nice because having this actually allows me to put more windows in that look out to the greenery and get a bit more natural light into the underground levels. So I end up adding those in a minute when I'm doing the interior, you'll see. But this actual bush comes from the debug menu. What a gem, the debug menu. If you don't use it already, you should definitely use those cheats to unlock all the hidden items and the live edit items. It also gives you the chance to get all of the like plants and foliage used throughout the world, so you can blend your house a bit more in with the surroundings and make it look like it belongs in that specific neighborhood. This isn't really the best example of that because I didn't really do that. I kind of stuck to this modern sort of Zen garden vibe. So I've got bamboo happening, and then this rock piece that I've added in, these big ones, I add a whole bunch in to create this like stone retaining wall. That's actually a piece of coral from Island Living. I'm obsessed with this rock. I think it is so realistic. It's just got the most beautiful textures. I don't know. I just think it adds like a whole other level to the game and realism to the house that I'm just obsessed with. So I'm adding in heaps of them now. It actually took ages, this section. It was a bit of a pain because I just couldn't get it to sit right. So I fiddled around with that for a while. It was a bit tricky, but we get there in the end. And I sort of edged all of the house in sand, again, trying to make it look like a bit of a Zen garden, a bit of a Japanese vibe in a way. And I put one of the big rocks out the front as like a nice big feature, which was cool. And I'm just adding more sand in here now. I just really wanted this little outside bit to be where our sim does a lot of the living. And I've play tested this, and it's really nice because when people are walking along the paths up the top, they can actually talk down into the house from up the top. So people that are passing by, you can often just stop and greet them from far away and have a quick chat, kind of like you would in real life, which is quite nice. Oh, and I decided to put black rocks in. I've always wanted to put black rocks in one of my homes, but they always look super out of place. But because this particular place has so much black and sort of steel industrial elements, I thought that this was the perfect fit, and I was so stoked to be able to pop them in. I also played with trying to do stuff out the front, but I just didn't think it needed it. I think one of the best tips that have stayed with me from Deligracy and James Turner is just don't use too many plants. It's so easy to just go in and go nuts and get so many plants in your game and try and make it look like this little oasis, but it doesn't really lend itself to the realism. So you can see even here I'm trying to stick to maybe 3 or 4 different plants that I just use in repetition, and I get some variety by scaling them up and down. So that's a bit of a handy tip that I have found has taken my building to a whole new level, which is really good. I'm also adding in some more debug stuff here. I've got little stepping stones from the debug menu. I think they're so cute. And I also managed to find those little steel plinths that I've stuck into the fence because I wanted to make like custom outdoor lights as well. So you can see me now just, figuring all of that out, figuring out outdoor lighting. I think that's one of the funnest parts of the build, when you start to light it and see how tranquil it's going to be. So I'm doing that. I'm just popping everything in, adding a few more windows because, again, you can't get enough natural light, especially in an art studio. You don't want to be in a dingy, dark art studio, that's for sure. And I'm onto the kitchen now, the interior, which is good. So I'm actually obsessed with this kitchen. I think it turned out really nice. I end up going for like a coppery orange and black vibe, which I've never done before, but I was really inspired by the brass sink that you can get, and that one there, oh my god, love that sink. And also you can get a brass exhaust fan. What's it called? A retractor fan, exhaust fan. And I just think that those were what inspired me to make everything else a bit more orange. And having a pop of color is a good idea because, again, the house is underground. Yes, we've got all the green, but you want something warm to contrast with that. So I thought the brass and coppery tones were the best way to do that. And they matched that like stony washed wallpaper really nicely as well. So I'm just sort of sectioning the room a little bit here. And then I get to my clutter stage, which is, I think, any Sims builder's favorite part of the build. You either love or you hate cluttering things up. I love it. I think it just makes the home look so much more like a home, more lived in, more real. Some people are really crazy with it, where they like take photos of their Sims family and put those on the wall, and props to those guys, because that is a whole other level of commitment that I just do not have time to do. So I just stick to the usual cluttery things, and of course jump in and out of the debug menu to get heaps of stuff. There's favorites that I always go for, those little vases with the little sprigs of, I don't even know, olive leaf branch. I don't know what they are, but I think that's so nice. I always tend to reach for that same like long wooden fruit bowl as well. I think that's from Island Living. I'm pretty sure it is. And now I'm just moving on to the living room, and it's quite a small space, so it's not the biggest couch in the world, which isn't really a problem because I've got one single sim living in here, and you can easily fit two just to have a chat, and people tend to sit at the island while they're eating and chat as well. So I mean, look, this house isn't really very big if you want to have a big family and expand. I sort of imagine like a single sim living here, or a young couple just before they embark on the rest of their, kid journey or marriage journey. Or maybe they're not going to have kids, maybe that's not their jam, in which case this would be a sick house to live and die in, quite frankly, I think. So I'm just changing my couch out now. I wanted something a bit more comfortable because what I had was just like, ugh, like who would want to sit on that? Not me. And again, more clutter. Love me some clutter. I was looking for ages in the debug menu for like magnets and little postcards and stuff. I spent so long looking for them and I just could not find them anywhere in there. So I don't know, leave a comment if you can help me find those, because I think it's so sick when, all the other Sims builders add it to their builds. I just couldn't find them, which was annoying. I also put in a cute little hanging plant, which I haven't done indoors before, but I thought that was quite cute. And again, a bit industrial, kind of like the whole build, which I really liked. And of course, I've got some bevs on top of the fridge. If you're in Australia and you have a fridge, you've usually got a bunch of bevs on top of them or in the fridge or whatever. So I had to put that in there to finish off the clutter in the kitchen. And now we're in the bedroom. I'm obsessed with these. I feel like I've said that 50 times, but I am totally obsessed with those wardrobes. I love them. I think you can put them in any room. They go with any style. They do look quite bougie. A little bit expensive, but honey, this place ain't cheap. You are definitely not starting here with starter funds if you're going to have it furnished. You could probably get away with it unfurnished, potentially. I'd have to check that. You can check in the gallery. But yeah, I went for a really modern vibe in here, and I kind of softened it up with the wood tones of the bed that I chose and the wardrobe. I tried to make the wardrobe the same color as the stone wallpaper because it kind of looks like it's blending in almost, like it looks like a proper built-in, which I really liked. And I kind of feel like there's kind of masculine vibes in this bedroom. I would certainly live here if it was my house, but there's something about it that's just a little bit more masculine in my eyes at least. And not that that deters me at all, even though I'm a girl, but I just think that there's something about it. I do have a male sim playing in here at the moment, but again, whatever, what are gender stereotypes, live here if you're a girl, live here if you're a boy, live here if you're non-binary, whatever's good. It's all gravy. It's a sick house nonetheless. And then I've got heaps of skill building items. That was the first one I popped in there, a little guitar, and you'll see when we head upstairs after that I've got a whole bunch of skill building stuff. I hate it when you don't have the things that you need to get your sim all groovy and like skilled up when you start with them. So that was important for me to have heaps of skill building items in the house. I'm just doing the bathroom now, not much to be said here. Again, that copper sink, love that copper sink. Again, a black and sort of coppery vibe, brass. I feel like brass though would actually, doesn't it get all like gunky and like weird? I think it does when you get it wet for ages, but could be wrong. If you've got brass, fixings, what are they called? Fixtures in your house, let me know, because I love the look of it, but I just don't know how practical it is. And because this outdoor area is quite big, I sort of imagined it to be like a second living space. You've got 3 living spaces technically, because not only have you got that little barbecue area downstairs, you've got this little upstairs, rooftop garden, veggie patch situation. And I love that you can see down into the kitchen through the skylights. I don't know, I'm obsessed with that. I think that's sick. I'd love to have a house like that. Although if you're wearing a dress or a skirt, standing on that and everyone's downstairs, they can see up your knickers, but got to watch out for that. Got to make sure that you're not standing on top of there in a skirt. And then this is where I'm talking about these skill building items. I didn't know what I wanted up here. Did I want it to be a gym? Did I want it to be an art studio? I thought art studio was a better fit, but I still wanted to get in some workout equipment because jogging in The Sims 4 is such a pain. I just find it so boring. I have to click, go here, annoying. So I end up making it an art studio and I clutter some stuff up. I love cluttering. I just think it's my favorite thing ever. I've said that already, but it totally is. Those little paint pots that I'm putting in now, I'm obsessed with them. They're so cute. I think because I'm an artist as well, it really resonates with me to see this messy, floor stained vibe happening, because I'm all about that at my own house. I've got a little woodworking table there, candle making, and of course some more music, so a little keyboard. And that's about it. So I think we're going to get into the screenshots soon. I hope you really enjoyed this build. I had the best time doing it, and I'm really stoked with the results. So enjoy. I'll see you in the next one.